Mini skirt on, dip my body in glitter. Platform sneakers, all the boys want a picture. Two forward cars, I make rich look richer. Save your breath, baby, I'm not going home with ya. Mini skirt on, dip my body.
Hello. You are now tuned in to the A Little Bit A Lot podcast. I'm your host, Kristen, and welcome back to another week. Oh my gosh, guys, this is not just any regular week. It's anniversary week. Yes, you heard it right. We have made it to 365 days of podcasting, and I am gagged. Like, this week feels so reflective. My heart is so full, and I cannot believe that I've been doing this for 365 days. Like, I feel like I say this all the time, but I am so incredibly grateful for everybody that has tuned in, that everybody that has tagged along. Like, oh my God, like your girl has been content creating, a podcaster for a year. 365 party girl. French manicure, wipe away the residue. Where's the Charlie XCX? We've got some decorations here. If you guys are watching on YouTube and you see in the background, we've got some balloons. 1 year. Okay, period. I've also got a cake. The A Little Bit A Lot podcast cake. I'm probably going to make this a part of my set when I move to my new apartment. Love it, love it, love it. So shout out to Crappy Cake Art on Instagram and TikTok. She is wonderful, and she was able to get this done for me really quickly. I ordered it on her Etsy shop. You're able to customize anything that you want on the cake. No, this is not sponsored. I spent my own money on this decor because I wanted to celebrate for the year anniversary of the podcast. But I'm like, why get a real cake when I can get a fake cake and use this as decoration, you know, to remember my first year anniversary. I also thought it was fitting because the cake has cherries on it, and I have the Pink Friday nails on, the cherry nails, and I've also got some cherry earrings in. So if you guys aren't watching on YouTube, you're missing the visuals, babes. Yeah, and speaking of YouTube, since we made it to the year, I just want to say again, thank you to everybody that has subscribed. And if you aren't already subscribed, make sure you do that at the top of this episode. I'm on my road to my first 500 subscribers right now. So thank you. Go ahead and give this video a like and comment. Happy birthday to the A Little Bit A Lot podcast. Enter the chat, guys. We need HBDs in the chat. We need some like birthday cake emojis. We need some balloon emojis. You know what I'm saying? Like, bump up that engagement in the comments and wish your girl well if you're watching on YouTube. So like, comment, subscribe. And if you're listening on Spotify and Apple, for the sake of this being my podcast birthday, give me that 5-star rating on Spotify. Give me that 5-star rating on Apple if you love your girl, and review the show to let me know what you think about the show. And click that follow button on Spotify and Apple as well, so that way you're staying up to date with every new episode. For the past few weeks, I have been talking to you guys and asking you to submit your thoughts about the show. If you had a favorite episode, a topic, a favorite guest, or if you just had any like personal messages that you guys wanted to share. I had a Google form that is no longer accepting responses right now for you guys to submit anonymously. So I thought that I would read those off at the beginning of the episode for everybody's well wishes. So like, let's get into the gags. I have the comments written down for everybody that submitted. Thank you so much. And if you didn't submit, you can always leave a comment if you're watching on YouTube in the comments to let me know if you had a favorite topic for this past year of the show, a favorite guest, a favorite episode. If you just have a nice personal message that you want to share, enter that in the comments as well, since the Google form is not taking submissions anymore. So yeah, let's get straight into it. I want to see what you guys had to say. I did not look at any of these until last night, and even then I didn't really read them. I just like screenshotted them and then just like put them on here. So we are going to take a look-see. So the first comment says 1 year. Woohoo! Congrats, sweetie. I'm guessing by all the exclamation points that this is from my dad, because he's the one that uses this many exclamation points. So thanks, Dad, if this is from you. Next comment says, my favorite episodes are episode 1 and 21 of season 1. They're both insightful, smart, and are wonderful to see. Thank you so much. I think episode 1 was Children of Divorce are automatically baddies. A lot of people said that they liked that episode. And episode 21 was the season finale of season 1. I think so. I'll double check and put it on the screen on YouTube if I'm wrong. So that was a really good episode as well. Another one comment says MERP, which I'm pretty sure this is for my sister because she's the MERP queen. She says, MERP, I'm so proud of you and what you've achieved during your first year, not only with your podcast, but with your content creation in general. Aw, it's been so amazing to see you shine and find something that you're passionate about. I love you and I'm so proud that you're my sister. Thanks, Janae. Janae, I love you. You my everything. Like, that's my ride or die girl. If you guys haven't already checked out the episodes that my sister's been featured on, like, you definitely should. She's so funny. I've actually got a episode coming up soon where we're going to be reacting to Freaky Friday, because that is one of our favorite movies growing up. And I heard that they're doing a Freaky Friday 2 with Lindsay Lohan. So I'm really, really excited for that. So just letting you guys know now, if you haven't already watched Freaky Friday, watch it now. Or if you haven't watched it in a long time, rewatch it, because I will be doing a video talking about that movie soon. So, and I'll probably have my sister on that episode. The next comment says, happy anniversary, my love. Congratulations on your success. Keep striving to do what feels best for you. Love, Mom. Oh, thanks, Mom. That's such a good look. I love that. Next comment says, my favorite highlight was the Halloween episode. Yes, the episode was so much fun to film. If you guys haven't checked out that episode, it's from season 1, where I read some spooky Halloween stories with my boyfriend and we dressed up. I love doing like an extravaganza moment, a costume moment, because spooky season is my favorite season. I love Halloween. So I had some like bats in the background, and I dressed up as Rosalie from Twilight in the baseball scene, and he was Woody from Toy Story. So that was a really fun episode. So I'm glad that whoever submitted this, that was your favorite episode, because it's one of my favorites as well. It was really funny and fun to film. The next comment that someone left says, favorite thing of the week's gonna hit every time. Yes, I'm so glad that some of the viewers enjoy favorite thing of the week. I know it's not like a every single week type of thing, but when I have a favorite thing of the week, I'm glad that you guys appreciate when I put you on. You know what I mean? The next comment says, your show has motivated me more than you know. I really appreciate your consistency. You're one of the few YouTubers I watch I know that I can count on for a weekly upload. Your energy can be felt through the screen, and it's always so relatable. I always leave your show with a smile on my face. Why? Because you're hilarious. You're a natural at podcasting, and I hope you go as far as you want with it. What the freak? Thank you so much. Next comment says, my favorite episode is you and your dad roasting the Cullen family in the Twilight episode. You guys have a great relationship and great chemistry for such shenanigans. Thank you. I really did like the episode with my dad as well. Like, the way that he's able to roast the Cullens is always so funny. I love our inside jokes when we tease the Cullen family and like tease the Twilight series in general for like how unserious it is, but at the same time we both like love Twilight so much. So out of all my guests, like I loved every single one, but like of course, you know, because he's my dad, I was really looking forward to doing his episode the most. So I'm really glad that you guys enjoyed that and could feel the chemistry and our bond, because like that's my dog. Like, I'm just a daddy's girl at the end of the day, like, period. Next comment says, you keep me up to date on pop culture, so I always feel like a part of the conversation. LOL. You also share personal stories through a lens that is authentic and connects with us. Thank you. I feel like I want to start opening up a little bit more about personal stories and stuff, and just continuing to be even like more authentic. But my fear of being perceived has like, it's getting better. It's getting better. You know, I feel like I never want like anybody I know to know my deepest, darkest secrets. But then it's like at the end of the day, like who the frick cares? Like at this point, it's been a year. I'm kind of over that era. So like I'm gonna continue to just be like even more open with you guys going forward. So I really appreciate that. The next comment says, I love the variety you give us, the vlogs plus the podcast episodes. I love them all. Thank you. I'm really glad that a lot of people appreciate the vlogs as well. The next comment says, my favorite episode was how to be a corporate baddie, so relatable and had good advice about advocating for yourself and the office. Corporate baddie was really, really fun. I really enjoyed that episode. Shout out to the Glad We Talked podcast. That was so much fun to film, and I felt very passionately about the corporate baddie episode because I just feel like there are so many different ways that I've struggled in the office. And I wanted to make an episode that could resonate and like give advice and like comfort to other people that are entering the corporate setting for the first time, or are either like already in the corporate setting and are struggling and maybe like could feel some type of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like camaraderie, I guess. In a sense, you know, like it's nice to know that other people in the office like go through the same thing when it comes to like the social anxiety aspect of it all, feeling kind of clueless with navigating fashion, things like that. So I'm really was intentional about setting that episode up so that way we could kind of cover all the different grounds that come with like corporate culture in general. Next comment says, hands down my favorite podcast. I look forward to Friday so I can work and listen to a new episode. Period. So glad that a lot of people have been saying that they listen to my episodes while they work as well, because that's one thing that I love to do with the podcast that I listen to and all of my favorite podcasts while I'm working and coding away every day, Monday through Friday. Your girl loves to listen to a podcast. So I'm just so thankful that my podcast is something that a lot of people choose to listen to in their rotation as well. Next comment says, love your podcast. You're so funny and real. Thank you, thank you, thank you, babes. And the last comment says, listening to your show feels like I'm hanging out with the girlies. I can always count on you to make me laugh every week. And I love your mental health episodes too. And that's exactly what my like intention is behind this show. I genuinely wanted to feel like I'm hanging with the girlies, and I basically just want to make a show that I would like to personally listen to, because I love when the shows that I listen to feel like I'm hanging with the girls. So that feels really, really good, because that's basically like the point of it all, you know what I mean? So that way I can have a safe space to be myself and other people can feel heard and seen through these episodes. I love that people are appreciating the mental health aspect as well. So love you down to whoever left that comment, and love everybody who left a comment in general, even the people that didn't. I know a lot of times it's harder to get people to want to leave their feedback because a lot of people are silent watchers. So if you're one of those people too, I appreciate you so much. Just everybody who looks, listens, views, anything like that, when you scroll past and you see me and you engage and take the time to look at what I have to say, like I appreciate you so much. So again, thanks to everybody who left a comment. Love you down. And I figured that we will also do like a transparency type of moment where we do like a status check-in. I'm hoping to like maybe try to do stats check-in. I was hoping that I could try to do this like every year, like on the podcast anniversary, where we kind of just check in onto the stats of it all and the growth, because at the end of the day, like stats aren't everything. And I really feel like I try not to focus on that, because the numbers aren't really what's important. It's about expressing myself and having a creative outlet for me, so that way it can help my mental health and my personal growth and my journey in life. And more importantly, it's about like connecting with other people out there and building a community, you know, for the girlies, for the anxious girlies. But I do think that it's important, like every once in a while, like I said, with the yearly check-in, to look at the stats, so that way I can really be like, wow, like give myself a pat on the back and like see what I've accomplished and see what you guys have helped me accomplish together in this community. So for 365 days clocked in, your girl has had, and I also shared these stats on my video that I uploaded on the YouTube, and it's also a bonus episode on Spotify and Apple. where I talked about 3 things that I learned after a year of podcasting. So if you haven't checked that out, go ahead and check that out. It's like a 5-minute video that I just figured I would kind of just like share those 3 lessons and then talk about the different topics that I discussed over this past year. So just to do a brief check-in, we have over 400 YouTube subscribers in the past year. We had over 100,000 views on my channel and a little over 1,000 listens on Spotify and Apple, 2,800 followers on TikTok and Instagram combined. And I also wanted to do a shout out to the different countries that listen, because I never look at those stats, like I said, because I try not to like really focus on the stats. But when I looked at it to like include it in this episode, I was like, what the frack? Like, a majority of the people, of course, listen in the United States because I'm based in the United States, but there's a lot of listeners in France. Shout out to y'all. Canada, the UK, Ireland, Australia, Philippines, and the one that I was most surprised by was Japan. Shout out to every single person that listens in all of these different countries. Like, when you think about that, like, that is literally so gaggy to me, because a lot of times I just only really think about like the few different people that are kind of like my mutuals that I talk to that are in like Texas or like New York. I never really think about the fact that there are listeners like outside of my country. So that is like literally insane, especially like the ones that like hit home, or like the Philippines, because I've talked about it before. I love the YouTuber It's Judy's Life, and she's from the Philippines. So it's like I have like a special place in my heart for my Filipino viewers and my listeners. So shout out to y'all. Shout out to every single person from every country that has tapped in. Like, that's iconic. And then I also kind of wanted to talk about like different ways that this podcast has benefited me, because I feel like I don't talk about it enough, like the tremendous ways that I have grown from this show. And the biggest thing that I feel like, most importantly, that I benefited from with starting this podcast is the fact that it's helped my mental health, because I felt like before I started, I was stuck in life, you know, like I was seriously going through kind of like a rut where I just felt like, what am I doing? Like every day kind of just felt the same. I was unhappy. And this was like also like before like I started like my antidepressants, you know what I'm saying? Lexapro Queen. Shout out my Lexapro girlies. Enter the chat. Enter the chat on YouTube right now in the comments. Lexapro gang is strong. But it's like, now that your girl is like continuously, you know, going to therapy, like she's on her antidepressants and she also has like a hobby, my life feels like so much more fulfilled. So I knew that I needed like a creative outlet bad. And, you know, like I said before, I was doing a few little TikToks here and there with like food reviews or like different things that I was doing, but I just felt like it didn't really click and I didn't really feel like fulfilled creatively like until I started this podcast. So in general, like I'm just not as sad, you know, because I love being like having things to do. I love, you know, the busy work that comes with like producing and editing the podcast and thinking of ideas. Like it just really gets like the creative juices flowing, and it just feels good. It just feels good to be able to like have something to do, because I feel like before like I wasn't really doing anything. And I feel like because now that I have the podcast, like it's also encouraged me to like do other hobbies, because for now, like this podcast is a hobby. It's not like my full-time job or anything, but I've also started getting into like reading again as a hobby. And I've recently started getting into coloring, which I mentioned in my last episode, but your girl has been going kind of crazy with the coloring, so much to the fact that now this week I started a coloring Instagram and a coloring TikTok, so make sure that you follow that. I'll be sure to put it in the description on YouTube and Spotify and Apple as well. It's called @coloring with Kristen. And I love doing like speed coloring videos and stuff like that. So not only do I have those hobbies with podcasting, reading, coloring, and hopefully getting into like different hobbies like cross stitching and like embroidery. I even want to get into like knitting. You know what I mean? Like it's just in general just like helped me so much, and like made me feel like any type of like hobby and interest that I have, I can at least try it just one time. And then I end up usually liking it. So I felt like before I didn't really have like that motivation, but now I do. Also, I feel like it's helped me learn to like trust myself more since starting this show, because I felt like I often like questioned my choices a lot before, and I didn't really feel confident like if I was doing the right thing. But with the show, with me having to be the producer, having to be the editor, like everything is all up to me. So I feel like it's helped me feel more safe with myself to make decisions, and because I trust myself with the direction of the show, you know? And I feel like if anything, all of this has shown me that like I'm capable. And so I feel more confident going forward and being capable at doing things on my own, you know what I mean? And not just in the podcast sense, but just like in decisions in general, like with adulting. So I didn't really realize like how that aspect of it would help me with like my personal growth in life. And lastly, I feel like I just, in general, it's helped me because I love having a space to like be myself in. And I love being able to like chat about my thoughts on things with my audience. And because you guys know, like, I'm just a certified yapper. Like, my dad has confirmed this. Like, everybody in my life knows, like, your girl can go, like, your girl can yap. But being able to, like, have that designated space to do that, and knowing that, like, a lot of the times, like, the other girlies out there, like, get it. The girls that get it. It's, like, so validating at the same time. But even outside of that, it's just, like, the internal validation that I felt with doing this, like, has just given me so much confidence, like, in general. So overall, I just feel like a happier, like, more hopeful person. Like, even my therapist, when I told her about like this upcoming guest that I have and like the anniversary of the podcast coming up, she started crying because she was so proud of me, and she has like noticed and acknowledged like how beneficial this has been for me and how it's helped me, like, not, like I said, not only with like my life choices and like decisions and my confidence, but just like in general with like being more patient, being more kind, like being more understanding. And it's just a blessing, honestly. Like overall, like this has just been the biggest like light of my life, and the people that I've been able to connect with has just been incredible. The community has been so kind, and like obviously like I get some like hate comments like every now and then, like only ever on YouTube, and especially like YouTube shorts. But like outside of that, like in general, the community and like the mental health community, the podcasting community, and like all of the girlies have just been like nothing but like kind and welcoming and just sweet. And knowing that other people appreciate like the work that I'm putting in, it makes me feel so good. So I think that a lot of times when it comes to like me having to like express my feelings in this way, it gets a little bit overwhelming because I feel like I don't really know how to like put these type of feelings to words compared to all my other feelings and stuff, when I have to be like introspective in this way with like the feeling of thankfulness, you know? But I just hope that you guys can understand what I'm trying to say and like understand in my heart, and just know that like I'm so incredibly appreciative. Because like I don't know why when I first started this, like I thought that people were going to kind of feel the same way that they felt about me like when I was in middle school, because for some reason like a lot of the people like in my area found me like really annoying. I don't know if I've already said this before, but that had like a big impact like on my confidence growing up. And especially like I've mentioned before, like with my family dynamics with like people, you know, like my grandma, who always just felt like stressing the importance of the fact that she felt like my opinion didn't really matter much because I was just a kid and didn't know nothing. It can really like stunt you wanting to put yourself out there because you just feel like, what's the point? But I had such a calling to do this because I enjoyed podcasts so much, and there were so many things that I felt like I wanted to speak about, not only just for myself, but just like the feeling of wanting community. And I'm so glad that I listened to that instinct and like pushed past like all of those negative like thoughts in my head and just did it, because now like look, we're here like a whole freaking year later. And it's like, in general, I'm just such a sentimental person, and I love like celebrating little milestones, like every single little thing that there is to celebrate. Like, I love to celebrate. So it's just really got me like in my feels right now, you know? Like, I don't even want to get emotional right now, guys. No, like for real, if you're watching on YouTube and you see these tears welling in my eyes, like act like you didn't see them. Okay? No, and then on top of that, like I don't even want to mess up like the natural glam, like the natural beat. A tear better not make its way past the brim of this mother freaking eyelid. Wait, give me a second, guys. I really need to like calm down emotionally, because your girl's like legit getting emotional. Okay, I'm calmed down. Like the tears were really trying to come for me. Yeah, like I just really hope that you guys can see like how passionate and like how emotional all of this really does make me, because it means so much to me. This podcast is like truly my Leo baby. Love the fact that she's a freaking Leo. It just means a lot. It really, really, really means a lot that anyone gives a freaking crap, gives a shite about what I have to say. So yeah, thank you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I feel like I can't say it enough. Okay? Also, I figured I would just kind of give you guys a little like update. This week has just been really, really nice. If you guys didn't see over on my Instagram at A Little Bit A Lot podcast, I was sharing on my stories that I won a giveaway to go to Bellamere Suites from their contest that they had. And me and my sister went on Sunday, and we had like a little girls like staycation type of moment. Normally like Bellamere is like for couples. It's like a lot of people go there on like their honeymoons and stuff. Like their anniversaries, like birthdays. Like I've been with my boyfriend like several times, but my boyfriend didn't have enough PTO to go with me, so I just figured I would bring my sister. So I'm like, even though I know this is like usually for couples, like me and my sister, you know, we can still have a good time because they have a pool. They have an indoor pool. You get your indoor heated pool moment. And then we also like were able to like walk on the premises. And premises, what kind of, I guess I don't really know any other word to use. I feel like sometimes I end up like choosing such fancy words that I'm like, why did I say that? So they have like this cute little like walkway where they have like a bridge, and then like the bridge has like different like locks that like people can put with their like initials on it. And then they had like a little like swinging chair where you could sit and like be by the lake and then like enjoy like the lake, and it was just a nice breeze out there. It was just really, really fun. Like me and my sister had so much fun like swimming, and we like got some snacks, we had some food, like we were able to like catch up on like K-pop. Me and her were like watching like the Bratz Forever Diamonds movie, because you guys know I've always talked about it. Those Bratz movies like were everything growing up. So we watched that, and I was just like, this movie is so funny and like so unserious for no reason. Like I love it. So that was just like so much fun. Like highly recommend, like if you guys have any siblings, taking the time to have like a little sibling getaway, a sibling trip is like so important. Especially if you have like a sister, like it's just nothing like that sister bond and that sister time. Like we always just have such a good time together. Like it was really, really a lot of fun. And then like they had a Raising Cane's that was like 5 minutes away from the hotel, and it's like, guys, that freaking Texas toast with a large fruit punch and that cane sauce with a 3-piece tendy is gonna set you right every time. Extra toast on the side, essential, babes. Like, the nearest Raising Cane's by me is like 50 minutes away. So to be able to have like a Cane's that was a few minutes away from that hotel was everything. And that was my sister's first time eating Raising Cane's, and she fell in love. Like, at this point, now that I'm back in Michigan, I might have to make that drive just because like it's that good. Like, what the heck? So really, really enjoyed that. And then also we had a blast at the Ice Spice concert. You guys know that I did a episode a few weeks ago about Ice Spice, and I really, really enjoyed myself at that concert. We went to the Detroit stop, and I was a little bit disappointed because Cash Cobain was supposed to be the opening act, but for some reason Cash Cobain wasn't there. But other than that, like, I really had a good time. And we ended up getting general admission. So with the general admission, we went down there and then we stood at like the little, like, basically they had like the general admission floor, and then they had some like steps, and then there was like a rail. So we were like up against the rail, and the concert like doors opened at 7. So from like 7 to 7:30, we were sitting there waiting for the show to start, but like my feet were hurting and I kept turning around, and I was like looking at like these seats that they had where it was like bar stools, and they had like a little table with like a menu on it. And I'm like, are these like reserved seats? And so after a while, like with my feet hurting, I'm like, okay, it's 7:30. I read that Ice Spice is not even supposed to come out until like a little after 9. We got like quite a while standing here like waiting for the show to start, and like my feet are hurting already, and the show hasn't even started. It's not even close to starting. So like, what if I ask the guy that's like standing there, who his shirt says staff, if we can just sit here? Because I looked on Ticketmaster and those tickets were like, they weren't sold. So I'm just like, what if we were able to just sit here? So I walk up to the guy and I'm like, hey, like, do you think that we could sit here? And he was like, oh, actually, you need to go ask like this girl that's over on the other side of the bar. So we go to the other side of the bar and we're like, hey, like, can we sit at this section here? Like, this is like its own little VIP section. Like, it was roped off in front of the bar and everything. And she was like, oh yeah, it's like $60 to like upgrade your seat. And so then we were like, 60? Like, together? And she's like, no, 60 a piece. And I'm like, oh, actually, never mind. Because like, what the frack, I'd already paid for the seats that the general admission ticket that I had. So I wasn't trying to like spend an extra 60 times 2 that night. But then the longer that I stood when we went back to where we were at, I'm like, babes, at this point, I like can hear my therapist like ringing in my ear, and she's always telling me that like I really need to start prioritizing my comfort and stop putting myself in like uncomfortable positions that I don't need to be in, and that like sometimes you just can't put a price on being comfortable. And it's like, okay, fine. Like, I feel like I'm always trying to be cheap, which is like good, you know, to a certain extent, because you don't want to like overspend and like just blow money just to blow money. But a lot of times I don't allow myself to like splurge like at all, because I feel like I shouldn't, and it feels like I'm like being extra. Like, I should be able to just like deal with my feet hurting and just like push through and get past it. But a lot of times my therapist is just like, hey, like, you don't have to do that, you know? Like, it is okay if you do have the money to spend it, because like, you work hard, you know, you work over 40 hours a week at your full-time job, plus you do podcasting and all these other things. Like, you deserve every once in a while to like treat yourself. And like, even my boyfriend was just like, I don't know, like, I feel like your therapist would probably want you to do this. So he was like, I guess we just should. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. Like, I was totally thinking about my therapist that whole time. So then we're like, okay, we're back. Actually, we will pay for those ticket upgrades. And she was like, okay, great. So we pay for it. And then she's like, do you want a table to yourself, or do you want to sit with other people? And we're like, to ourselves, please. So then she like walks us over to this section. She moves the rope, lets us in. And now we have like a table for 2, you know what I'm saying? With a little light up menu. They got the drinks, they've got like snacks, and then you can press a button button on the table, and then a waiter will appear to take your order and like take care of you throughout the entire evening. And I'm like, what the freak? Like, this is so nice. This is so fancy. Like, I never had like a VIP experience like that. So I was feeling like really bad and bougie, like no Migos, you know what I mean? So we were looking at the menu, and then like if you saw on my story, me and my boyfriend ended up ordering like a hot dog. We had some fries. I ended up getting a Shirley Temple. Like, I was drinking, you know what I'm saying? Like, my boyfriend had his vape, so you know I was litty up in there. Like, it felt so nice. I felt grown, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of times I honestly feel like I'm still a kid, even though I'm 28, but I'm just like, no, like, this is grown teens, right? Like, we're vibing in our own little section, like our own little table. Like, it was really, really lit. And then like, I was just so glad, because it's like, sometimes you just can't put a price on comfort, because it's like, girl, like, I have plantar fasciitis. Like, my feet be on 10 every time I walk around the house barefoot. You know what I'm saying? So even when I wear like my most comfortable shoes, my New Balances, like, I'm still in pain. So I was like so glad once I was able to sit. And then it also gave me variety throughout the show, because then like once the show did start, I was able to like sit down and I was able to stand up, like depending on how I felt, you know what I'm saying? So like, I was living, laughing, loving for that. And Ice Spice was like really freaking lit. And then on top of that, oh my God, guys, 10 minutes before the show started, there was this girl that was like walking around, and every time she would like pass by us to like go to the bar, she like kept getting drinks, and she was like really, really lit. So I'm just like, okay, cute. Like, if she's turned, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's having a good time. Like, she was twerking with her friend, like her and her friend, you know what I'm saying? They had their drinks, like they were keeping it cute at first. But then next thing you know, I saw like a big commotion, and I saw her, and I'm like, oh, that's the same girl that's been getting like turned for the past 2 hours. Every time she like walks past us, she's litty. So when we saw her again, tell me why she was surrounded by a group of like 5 of the staff of the venue, and they were like holding her, and she had like one staff member on her right, one staff member on her left, and then 3 behind her. And then they were like escorting her past us so she could like leave, because as she's walking, she's literally like stumbling as they're trying to like hold her up. And I'm like, girl, last time I saw you, you were not this drunk. And I'm pretty sure that for her to get as drunk as she was, she had to have pre-gamed, you know what I mean? But it's like, I personally saw her with 2 drinks when she passed by us, the few times that she passed by, let alone what she may have drank before I saw her. Guys, tell me why she was stumbling and rumbling, and then next thing you know, there was like a rail next to us. She climbed up on the rail with the 2 staff members still trying to hold her, started twerking. The staff member is like, get down, yanks her down, and she's like, ugh, you suck. She like sticks her tongue out at the staff member, sticks her middle finger up in the staff member's face, and then they like pull her and like yank her so she can like keep walking past us to like go to the exit. But then before she reaches the exit, she stops next to the bar, because next to the bar is a trash can. I see her grab onto the trash can while the staff members are like still all around her, like trying to get her the frick out of there. And she's like, wait, grabs the trash can, full on pukes. I'm like, girl, like, you are literally a hot mess, throwing up, drunk, turned, and the show hasn't even started yet. Like, and then on top of that, before that happened, there was also like another commotion, and then like somebody, like people were yelling and somebody passed out, so then like the medic people had to like get them. And I'm like, that was like an hour and a half before the show even started, let alone the girl being drunk, escorted out, throwing up 10 minutes before the show started. So at this point, I'm just like, what is going on? The Munchkins, Ice Spice fans are crazy. Like, what kind of crowd is this, babes? Like, what? So like, other than like those 2 moments that me and him, my boyfriend, were just like, what the frick is going on? It was cute, you know what I'm saying? Everybody else kept it cute, everybody else kept it mindful. It was very demure. So I had a lot of fun seeing Ice Spice. Like 10 out of 10 will recommend if you haven't gone to one of her shows. I know everybody is talking what they want to talk, but like I said before in my episode, I'm going to stand on that. It's fun music and it was a fun time. Like, how could I lose if I'm already chose? Like, is she feeling how did I make it supposed that I get it every time that I post? The party not lit, then why would I go? Why would I go? Is she feeling how did I make it supposed that I get it every time that I post? You know what I mean? Like, word to Bikini Bottom. So yeah, other than the Cash Cobain not coming out, which really, really disappointed me because I'm slizzy down boots, it was still lit. But again, thank you so much for everybody that has tuned in. Every like, every comment, every follow, every subscribe, every listen. Like, it really, really means a lot to me. So enter in the chat to let me know, like, what you've loved the most about this last 365 days. And we gonna keep rocking and rolling and coasting into year 2. I got some exciting things coming up for the podcast that I can't wait to tell you guys about. But yeah, so in the meantime, like I said at the beginning of this episode, if you're watching on YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe. If you're watching or listening, on Spotify and Apple, go ahead and rate that 5 stars, leave a review, and click that follow button so you're staying up to date with every new episode. And with that, I will see you guys next week. Bye.
Cause I make rich look richer. Save your breath, baby, I'm not going home with y'all.